Well, as far as I'm concerned, you guys are the stars of the whole event because you're the reason that everybody's here and the reason for Arava. So it's my pleasure to say hello to Eve and Muhanad and Liel. And I just want to start off, you know the ball game. So I want each of you to be able to say whatever matters to you most to everyone who's listening. Why the Arava, how you got there, where you're from, or whatever you want to talk about. We don't have to follow any rules. So why don't we go with ladies first? Because I think that's the old-fashioned way. So, Eve, you get to kick it off. What do you want to say most to people who are listening, who are familiar or not familiar?
Wow, it's really hard to describe what the Arava Institute means for me. And I think most of what I do in the past 4 years since I graduated is connected directly to my experience in the Arava. I was born in Tel Aviv, and I really arrived to the Institute actually after being an activist for several years and hearing mostly from my family and friends, you know, let go. It's not going to end.
What do you mean, let go? Let go of what?
Of peace activism, like it's not going to happen. You're wasting your time, and I think I arrived to the Arava Institute as kind of a place where I thought, okay, maybe there I will find something new, something that will light the hope again. The change can happen in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and since then I can't stop. It's really, I got so much enthusiasm and motivation and people who support me and help me and give me advices in what I do that it's really something that I think is going to stay for the rest of my life. So
Eve, when people said to you, when people said to you, Eve, let go and forget about it, peace is never going to happen. How did you fight that? How did you not let go? How did you say, I'm going to this place? I'm going to try. I'm not giving up. How did you get to that place with, I'm assuming, people that were important in your life telling you to forget it?
I think that in the first years, I would go to protest and participate maybe in several Israeli-Palestinian encounters between youth, but I never had a Palestinian friend. And I think that in the Arava Institute, after being there for a year and also 2 months with Jordanian Palestinian friends in the US in the Alumni tour, I had real Palestinian friends who are part of my life, never mind the conflict and never mind environmental justice, injustice. And once you have that, it's not about politics anymore. It's
Yeah.
about personal life.
Yeah, no offense to Muhanad or Liel, but I don't think we're going to beat that. If you have a Palestinian friend, it changes the whole world. So that's what everybody needs to do, is to make friends with people that you're not supposed to make friends with, that somebody told you along the way. You're supposed to make friends with everybody. Talk to us, Muhanad. What's your story? What happened at the Arava?
So I got there in 2020, no, 2011, 2012. And I spent about a year and a half there. And as I said, like really pills was the most important component for me. We're really getting people from different faith and backgrounds and nationalities and countries and cultures together in one room to really speak about very, very important issues. It could be religion, it could be gender equality and equality, environmental issues, but also most importantly, the political situation that we all suffer from in different scales and levels. So I think that program for me was a very challenging program, of course, a very challenging component, because it really pushes your limits and it comes from people that you have already built some sort of relationship with. So we're talking about this human interaction that has been developed by people living at the Arava Institute, at the kibbutz. And then with these relationships, you're fostering them by allowing people to speak about things that are quite sensitive. So it's not just you're meeting someone in a bar for the first time and then you have those clashy conversations. It's more like, having this incubation that really can capture the moment for people to be able to express themselves. And yeah, things can be very heated, but I think that's really where the personal growth happens.
Is there a particular memorable moment in an incubation period or after hello that just made you go, oh, I'm maybe a place that I could call something close to home and maybe make a new friend and maybe see something I didn't see? Is there a moment where you had a moment that you can't forget?
Sure, I can think of an extracurricular activity that we did actually as students and interns at the Arava Institute, where we organized a trip to the West Bank, and we spent about like 3 days, all of us there, and we had like Christians, Jews, Muslims, and even not very religious people together, and it was a group of about 20 people, and we all experienced so many different things in the West Bank, which is not very easy for like for the program itself to organize this for the Arava Institute. So that again came from the opportunity that was offered to all of us by being together at the Arava Institute, where we could really build this group and go all of us there. Us, as a group, experienced, settlements and wall, but also the cultural aspect of a Palestinian life, going to the market and seeing, maybe some scenes at checkpoints. So all of these things, we kind of lived them all together, really in the spirit of just observing and learning and talking about things. So it wasn't just to say, oh, you did this, no, we did this, oh, but the Palestinian did that, or the Jew or the Israeli did that. And I think really that moment kind of really was a very big highlight. Even like with the people that we did that together 9 years ago, we still speak about it until today. So that was a real highlight for me.
Thank you. Liel, what do you want to share with us?
I connected to what both Eve and Muhanad said. For me, like really what makes the difference about this place is the alumni community, which create a strong community of support in whenever you try to engage with in this peace building world that can be many times very frustrating or disappointing. But because we are doing it together and we are a group of people that know each other, it makes things a bit easier. And we many times invite people to join our projects or advise in other people's projects or consult or help with different resource development. And in this way, we are not alone in doing this. As a matter of fact, I joined the Arava Institute because of an alumni project. My first connection to the Institute was by invitation. Rina Kedem, which is maybe a very famous alumni, she invited me to join one of her projects when I was living in the Arava in a different kibbutz in Samar. She invited me to join the project, and through this project, I learned about such spaces where Israelis and Palestinians can interact, which I didn't know it exists before. And from being a farmer of organic dates, I became a person that want to be engaged in this sphere and try to see what I can do with it. And as I grew up in a very right-wing family, I didn't want to have any connection to such spaces. But being there under the environmental umbrella really changed my perception and made me more curious and brought me to enter this program and eventually develop a completely different understanding of what is our ecology, what is our human ecology, how we need to be sustainable in our social and political relationships, and how we are a part of a region that it depends on our ability to work together.
When you talk about being from a right-wing family, it's pretty hard to walk away from the dinner table and change direction and look where the left wing of the family that you haven't met yet lives and where their hearts are. So how did you literally go about that possibility, opening up that door? Was it the environmental considerations that spurred you on, or were you exhausted by just division and people not finding a way to be together and living side by side, but not giving up hatred? And what for you personally was like, I'm not going to give up on this, right-wing family or not, I'm moving forward?
As I said, it's very difficult to confront your family when you change your position. And you can get criticized by your community and society at home. And again, here, what I think makes the biggest difference is that we are not doing it alone. I felt that I have a different community to lean on, which was the alumni community. The fact of us meeting on a regular basis, whether where I was living in the center of the country, whether in Jerusalem, or in our alumni conferences, which used to happen annually, I felt that I am not alone in taking this step. And it's like, if I compare it to a different community, but it's kind of coming out of the closet and not being alone in it, and being proud when you're doing it. and having community of supporters, and by this being able even to do it. I know of other organizations that I work with that they don't have a strong alumni communities, and their participants have difficulty of maintaining connection with the organization or with the field because it has such a burden in their life.
Right.
Many times they prefer to push their experiences in this organization, like outside of their ongoing life, because it has such a cost. But because we are doing it together, it's a bit easier for us.
Can each of you just speak for a moment? And you may have said it in different ways already in your comments, but for those individuals that are listening or in your lives or that you know or in your families that are crippled with fear of change, of moving out of the comfort zone of, you know, what you've been brought up with around the dinner table and looking for new possibilities. Can you offer possible examples of how someone who's hungry for that change can find it, can look for it, can test the waters, can grow, can move forward, can literally create a new life with new friends and build toward peace while you're fixing the environment? Is there some, I think it's so helpful. Everyone listening anywhere in the world who gets exhausted with a peace process that seems to move forward so damn slowly, what can we say to ourselves and to each other to keep the faith and to never give up? What examples can we offer ourselves and our listeners to just not give up? Anybody, go, whoever wants to go.
I'll start with something maybe a little bit trivial, but in my opinion, there are two levels, right? For when we speak about peace, there is the whole governmental, high level peace, and there is the bottom up, the grassroots peace. I think on the top level, it's, for me, I'm very agnostic. I just don't see any hope really there. But what gives me faith in something that can change things to the better is actually the human interactions between individuals. What the Arava, I mean, these are some comments that I used to get also. Like, yeah, I went to the Arava Institute, I have Jewish friends, Israeli friends, and others. And people tell me, oh, but look, but there was this war now, and like, the being killed and all that. And I think people expect maybe that, okay, well, we have the Arava Institute, and now tomorrow there'll be no conflict. And that's not really the role of the Arava Institute. The role of the Arava Institute is really this investment in those individuals that join the program, that have this shared message together, and for them to be able to create things. I mean, even Liel and I were just working on a project with the Young Professional Forum. Maybe Liel, you can speak a little bit more about it in a second. But how can you really take this experience at the Arava Institute, and then you really start afterward? It's not really it's not these 4 months that you spend in Kibbutz Suga. It's really what happens after, and that really what shapes and defines the alumni network. We as humans always need to have these, communal dynamics. We need to have that there are other people that share our values and our opinions, and in such sphere we can find that, and that's how we can keep the hope for us to keep doing maybe these small steps to some people. But I think if we're not doing this, they were literally doing nothing. And to me, that's what gives me some hope.
Yeah, beautiful. What you're describing is the Arava is a kind of birthing room.
Too much.
Muslim prayer in the background because it's the end of the Ramadan. So I think we will wait for a minute before I speak.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, I can just add to what Muhanad said, that we try to create a new culture basically with all of these different projects. And by this, they are intertwined and people have different entry points to be part of change. And for some people, it can be pairs where they want to really speak about the issues and find common grounds. And for other people, just being in a space that is mixed and kind of a bit finding a more humane connection to the other side. And in our community, we managed to build all of it. And by this, to try to expand it to our surroundings. I know that with Hiv and friends from her class, there were parties that they joined in, whether parties that are connected to the demonstrations in Jerusalem or parties that were placed to debrief or to get a breath. and there we were just being friends, and we're not overly facilitating our relationships.
Right.
Sometimes also this can be a very important entry point for people to be able to feel that it's okay, it's normal. I can take these steps, and again, I'm a part of something bigger than me. I'm a part of a movement, and this is the main and biggest difference, I think, between seeing all of these different organizations working separately and divided, and seeing them a part of the same wave of change.
Thank you. Eve, I don't think you could have expressed yourself more beautifully than saying, I have to wait as an Israeli and listen to the end of the prayer of Ramadan. That is as big as it gets, as far as I'm concerned. The care, respect, and listening, just literally listening to literally a prayer of the other side that isn't the other side at all. It's the same side of us. It's I loved that said it all for me, that you had to wait. Bless you for that. And if the whole world could have that kind of kindness and respect for listening to each other, I think we could clean up a lot more than our environment. Is there anything before we move on to wherever we're going to go for the rest of our days, wherever we are in the world at the moment, that you wish the Arava can do in the future, that it wasn't quite getting done while you were there, or that you haven't seen it accomplish X, Y, or Z yet, and that you want to see something particularly accomplished, and any suggestion you have as to how that may get accomplished? And Eve, why don't you take it first?
Sure. Really, I think looking at what the three of us said is really, all I think about is that the Arava Institute is the best training program for peace and environmental activists in the Middle East, and it's also a lot of fun. We mentioned the parties, and I think the year in the Arava Institute was, I think, one of the best years I had in my life, and it's kind of it's a lifestyle. You know, after the Arava Institute, I went to study at the Ben Gurion University, and in this mostly homogenic class with people who come from very similar backgrounds. And all I thought about is like, wow, the biggest studying experience I had in the Arava Institute was, of course, the professors and the trips, but it was also just sitting together in one room and talking about environmental issues, about political issues. Some of them are not even in the Middle East. And all I can wish for the Arava Institute is for it to grow and touch more people, and manage to maintain its intimacy. Like the fact that I'm not sure what years exactly you studied, Liel and Muhanad, but the fact that we know each other, and I see Liel in almost every peace event that I participate in, and many alumni, and we know each other, and we know what other people are doing, and we have the opportunity to connect and
that's my favorite word. My favorite word in all of life is connect, 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 connect. And the other two favorite words are have fun. And you said both of them. Groucho Marx used to say the magic word, a little duck will come down, you get $100. So you just $200. So thank you. Muhanad?
Yeah, this is very interesting because I was really thinking about this like a few hours ago. As I was eating, I was thinking really about the Arava Institute, thinking about this call, and I really think there's something very, very special about building again those relationships cross cohorts and cross years and semesters. And I don't think this comes from nowhere. It's not that you just graduate from the program and then people know each other, right? I mean, if you look at the students that graduate from a certain university, they're not all connected, only people from the same class. Whereas in our own little universe, it's a little bit different here. And because of the large investment, I would say, from the Arava Institute and the staff, and even the alumni themselves, really, because without the alumni, I don't think that can really happen. And like having this very serious investment into this community, I think, is precious. And to your question, what I would definitely love to see, and I know this is not like a brand new idea, but I definitely would love to see like 2 more campuses right now, one in Jordan and one in Palestine. I think that would really create a lot of impact to really show people, firsthand what the Arava Institute is and the message behind it. And then be able to kind of have students from the 3 different communities and countries, and even globally, come to that one place, hopefully after COVID, to live together and stay together and learn together and grow together. I think that would be really, really unique for the
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah, and I'm fully supportive of this idea. It's an idea that we try to promote for several years now. But I think one important thing of this experience was living together and the ability to be in the same space even between classes. And I think it's very, very important to have such space where it's mainly dominated by Arab culture, and where Israelis are feeling as guests, that they need to trust their hosts. And it's something that Palestinians and Jordanians are doing on a regular basis in the Arava Institute. And it's something that Israelis for now did not experience it such extent. And I think for being able to have true peaceful relations, we need to be able to promote this idea that security is a value for all, and we need to be able to trust each other in all spaces, whether they are run by Arabs or by Israelis.
Yeah, I experienced the same thing, both visiting the Arava Institute and meeting my Arab brothers and sisters, Palestinian brothers and sisters, and also being in Jordan. And I just think it's one of the great gifts to meet the other half of your family, and that you didn't know, and eat with them and play with them and listen and have fun. And one of the things I'll never forget about the Arava was that these were relationships that were being made by Arab and Palestinian and Jordanian and American and international individuals that were going to be the leaders of their particular areas in the future. And they forged these relationships together. So they were, one of the glorious things I thought was, not only were you becoming friends and finding ways to help the environment and stuff, but you were going to be the leaders of the future in wherever you lived. And now you know each other and you can work together. And that is how it works. I think the Arava is the most adult system to feel alive in terms of the peace process and the possibility of it actually being a reality that I have found so far in over 30 years of trying to be an advocate for peace. I have not found anything to equal the Arava Institute's efforts. So I think we're very lucky to be a part of it. Yeah.